Grief is not a problem to solve. It's the continuation of a love story. On this episode of Where Grief Meets Grace, we're getting to know grief and discovering how to live with loss and grow in gratitude. Welcome to Where Grief Meets Grace, a space for us to explore grief with curiosity, courage, and connection. Hi, I'm Fatimah, and like you, I'm someone who's experienced loss, struggled with grief, and longed for a better way to navigate the complex emotions that impacted my life. Having earned degrees and certifications, serving as a college professor, trainer, and executive coach, I live to learn. Learning is one of my core values. So when I thought about what I could do to become a more courageous griever, I leaned on my love of learning and became a certified grief coach and consultant. I ask a lot of questions. And in my practice, I use this inquiry-based approach to help clients discover the depths and the beauty of their grief while honoring their experiences and continuing the next chapters in their love story. In each episode of the show, I'll be introducing you to one of my 5 grief-wise pillars as outlined in the Where Grief Meets Grace companion journal for living with loss. I invite you to either grab the hardcover or the digital version and follow along. We only spend a few minutes here together, and in the days ahead, I want you to be able to fully engage with the insights, journal prompts, and reflections as you begin to dig deeper. The first pillar is getting to know grief, what it is and what it isn't, and unlocking a broader definition, including dispelling myths and rethinking what we've been taught thus far. We'll dive into that today. The second pillar is listening within. How do we begin to trust ourselves and act on our own wisdom? Third is practicing courageous communication, giving our grief and our experiences a voice, sharing our stories, and overall gaining a more profound understanding of the language of loss. Fourth is leading with compassion. We all lose something or someone. We all grieve. How do we show up with compassion not only for others, but also for ourselves? And fifth is living forward, not allowing our grief to keep us stuck, but reimagining our present and our future with new purpose and hope. Notice that I didn't talk about steps or phases, nothing rigid or prescriptive. Rather, these pillars provide context, a starting point, or simply a perspective to help give meaning to and acceptance of what you're experiencing. So let's take a deep breath and start with this question. What have you lost? What have you lost? We often think of grief as this thing that only happens to us when someone dies. But thankfully, we're starting to normalize that grief is so much more. Yes, it's related to the death of a loved one, but maybe you've lost your job, you got a divorce, cut off a close friendship, are estranged from your parents, forced to close your business. Your pregnancy wasn't viable. Your child went off to college. You're caregiving for someone who is terminally ill. Your beloved pet passed away. The dream that you had for your life is not a reality. Think deeply and broadly. What have you lost? And what is the impact? For example, if you've gotten divorced, You've also lost your identity as a spouse. If you've lost your job, your financial or your social status may have changed. There are ripple effects and compounding effects that often intensify our grief. You may want to pause here and use page 9 in your journal to write down your responses. And keep in mind, grief isn't just the sadness and the sorrow, it's also the fond memories and the joy. Your grief is unique to you. Yes. Now that you've recognized that the feelings you've been carrying related to these losses are actually grief, how would it change things if you gave yourself full permission to grieve your way? Imagine letting go of your and others' expectations on how to grieve. No matter what society tells us, grief is not something to rush through, get over, or stay strong about. It doesn't have to be a big loss. Whatever is significant to you deserves space and care. You are entitled to grieve. Allow yourself to do it without shame or apology. So that's what this first pillar is about. Getting to know grief, but more importantly, getting to know who you are as a griever. As you continue your reflection, I want to leave you with one more thing to consider. What does courage look like for you in this season? It takes courage to grieve. So what does courage look like for you in this new season? You deserve to grieve with grace. And I sincerely hope that between episodes, you'll use the journal as a guide and connect with our community at 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬.com. Remember, hope is always present, and you're not alone on this journey.